Again, welcome everyone. Our agenda for tonight. We have Mercedes McCurley, who is a family engagement fellow with the DPS Foundation. She is going to go over some school options or the school options for our community and also do a parent identity exercise. Ms. Latoya McCrimmon is also with us tonight. She is the K transition facilitator with the DPS Office of Early Learning. And then we also have some parent experts, Melissa Ordonez and Alisa Miller, and Maria Garcia, who is our three Book Babies alumni. Tabitha Blackwell is the executive director of Book Harvest, and she also has a daughter in kindergarten. And parents have children in school, in public school, charter school, and private school. So we have a lot of different perspectives. And then our Book Babies team is also here to support tonight. Miss Victoria, Alisa, who is also a coach, and Sherry, who is our Book Babies Durham manager. And then we'll be wrapping up.
Hello, everyone. Like I was just sharing with the group before we started that, I mean, I love school and I want children to love school, to have all of the opportunities that I had when I was a small child. And so I have dedicated my adult life to advocate for equity in education. As a disclaimer, though, I am a supporter of public schools. I think the public schools are the option. It's an option that is for all. So I just want to say that before I start talking about some of the options that we have as parents here in North Carolina. And I wanted to start with this because let's talk about the options and then we can break down those options. So all of you can see that in North Carolina, we have, of course, private schools. The private schools are an option for some or for all. We can talk about that a little bit more in detail. The charter schools is another option that we have here in North Carolina, and the public schools. So Durham Public Schools is our school district, and it is for all of us. So can we go to the next slide, please? So private schools, they're private, they cost money. Okay, so I was just looking, I looked yesterday just to be sure. I had last year's numbers for Durham Academy, and they have actually doubled in price. So right now, to go to a school like Durham Academy, the tuition for kindergarten is $22,700. So they're there as an option, but it's really for all of us. They do have scholarships. So for some parents, if you can go through that process, that is an option that we can have. We have schools like the Catholic School Immaculada is $8,800 per year. And then Liberty Christian School. So these are just some options, but there are many, many private schools in Durham that you can look at. Then we have the charter schools. So the charter schools in North Carolina right now, we have a whole number of charter schools. Not necessarily all of them are academically good, but that's something that we can talk about a little bit about, how do you actually select the best school for your child? But some of the charter schools that we have are KIPP, Healthy Academy, Carter Community, and there is a space, a place where if you want to, they receive a report card, just like any of our public schools. They receive a report card from the state that you can look, and I will actually put it on the chat at the end. I don't think I put it on my slide, but where you can go see the academic grade that each of these schools get. Charter schools, and that's what I had a little ticket. the admission to charter schools is by lottery. So you cannot just go to a charter school, you live in the area, and they will take your child. Let's say if you come to Durham in September, if you didn't go through the lottery process, you cannot actually attend a charter school. So they have a way of admissions, and it's by the lottery process. Thank you, Wilmarie. We can move forward. And then we have DPS. And so Durham Public Schools, we have 54 schools right now, pre-K through 12th grade. The newest one is Lion Park. So that made it 54 schools. Some schools are magnet schools, so there is a lottery process for a few schools within the Durham Public School system. And all of the other schools are assigned by address. So depending on where you reside in the city or the county. And the reason like I support the public school system is because it is for all of the children. So if you happen to move from one county to the other one, from one state to the other one, from a country to the other one, and you get to the city, you can go register your child, and your child will have access to education. So that is one of the reasons that that I advocate for the public school system. We can go to the next one. And in North Carolina, actually, you have the option of homeschooling, and it's actually not a very complicated process. And I always like to mention it because for some families that could be an option. And it is you can apply, you can open your own homeschool and do your child's education at home. So that is an option in North Carolina that you can actually like search for if it's something that you're interested in. We can go to the next one. But so we have those options, and those are the options that you can find in most cities across the United States. But what would actually the question that we have is, what is a good school? So we have the charter schools, we have the public schools, we can do homeschooling, if we can get scholarships or something, we have the option of private school. So what is a good school? And I'm always asked that question, and I always said a good school is determined by the needs of the child, not. I don't believe in good and bad schools. I believe in a good fit for your child and for the family in general. So when I'm looking at a school, or when you are looking at a school, look at the school culture. When you enter the front office, are they friendly? Do they say hello? Is the secretary a person that actually comes and greets you, or do they continue working and ignore you for 2-3 minutes, and then eventually they look up? Are the children, do they seem to be moving throughout the school with familiarity? So there are things that you can look for that can tell you a little bit about the school culture just by visiting. Diversity also, looking at, and those that you can look at through or ask about the statistics of the school population. But is it a diverse school? Are you looking for diversity in your child's school? Then the academic achievement of a school, and that is something that the state of North Carolina reports on. So for charter schools and for public schools, private schools don't get a grade for academic achievement, but you can find the academic achievement of the school if you go and look at this. It's actually called ncreportcard.org, and you can actually find there the school report cards. like I said, it could be a school could be have a grade, a really high grade, like an A school, but you walk in there and the culture of the school is not something that matches your needs. Maybe that's not the best school for you. The resources for the school, it is important to see what kind of resources is the school receiving, budget, understanding about the teacher, the population of the teachers, and the principal. Do you get along with the principal? So those are some of the things that I recommend that families, when they visit, and you should visit the schools, those options. If you're thinking about a charter school, go ahead and visit, not visit just once, but maybe twice. A lot of the schools provide tours for families. And so that is the best thing that I can say is go see the school, go with your child, see how they feel. And that way you can determine if it is a good school for you and your child. But the most important thing for me is that sense of belonging in a school. So can we go to the next one? So what is belonging? So for me, belonging is when I enter into a space and I feel comfortable. The belonging means I feel safe to cry if I need to cry, to laugh if I need to laugh, where I can be me. So, and for a child, that is very, very important in kindergarten. It's when they actually say that feeling. We're talking about kindergartners come with a lot of feelings. And so when they feel that they can be comfortable and be themselves in a space, then they will be ready to learn. So how do we help them? How as parents, we can help your child transition into kindergarten in a way that is safe, that they are understood, and that they will develop that sense of belonging. So we're gonna do a little kind of exercise. If you have either and you can do this in your mind or on a piece of paper, but if you write your child's name, and then you're gonna follow it by 2 words. Can we go to the next one? So the first word is an adjective, and an adjective is a word that describes a noun and it can describe a person. So I put some examples of adjectives that I would use to describe, in this case, like my grandkids, happy, energetic, observant, clever, but it can be something like tall for his age or her age or their age. And then I also really want you to think about how you see them when they're navigating the world. So I have my 5-year-old grandson right now. I see him as an engineer. And I say that because if he has a string, a shoelace, any kind of rope, and any object, he's always taking the time to maybe tie the object and the string, and he's either flinging them around something, and he's looking for movement. He's taking more than one object and looking at things balancing, and I'm just using objects to examine movement. So I think about that as an engineering mind. I have another grandson that is more into cooking and wants to be in the kitchen, but he wants to just do kind of cakes and stuff because he loves sweets, but he also likes the process. So take a second and think about your child. So that was just a short exercise to start on something that I'm recommending to parents to do. and it is to introduce your child to your child's teacher, to the counselor, to the principal, because we know them best. I think we have the knowledge and the intimate knowledge of our children, and sometimes we assume or hope that people are going to embrace them and love them as much as we do instantly. And teacher will really embrace your child, but I think it will take them a little bit of time to get to know them. So a child may get frustrated sometimes in school and rip up their work. But if the teacher had received a note from you, and I wrote this one about my grandson, and his name is Leo. And so I wrote it about him. So, dear world, Leo is loving, energetic, and very, very curious. He can be quiet at times, but if you find a book about wild cats, he will have a lot to share. He can also be a perfectionist. He can get frustrated easily if his drawings are not exactly like he wants them to be. So with that information, I can let the person that is going to be with my child for 7 hours a day during their kindergarten year, that Leo can get frustrated sometimes, but that if you give him a book about wild cats, if you go and find a book about lions and tigers, that can help him regulate his feelings. So when we're talking about the identity of our children and their belonging, we can support them by giving the caregivers that are going to be with them, the teachers, information about them that will support them in that transition.
First, I do want to say Ms. Mercedes gave some wonderful, wonderful information about visiting schools and the wonderful things that Durham Public Schools has to offer. And I will say that visiting your school is very, very important, whether you choose Durham Public Schools, charter school, private school. Choosing, going and visiting a school, taking your child with you is very, very important. And another thing I want to share is you being a part of your child's learning. Don't just send them to school and expect them to just learn everything that the teacher has to offer. You be a part of that learning, be a part of that community, be a part of that culture when you send your child to that school. And to register for Durham Public Schools, you go to our website at www.dpsnc.net. Up at the top, click enrollment, kindergarten information, and everything that you need about registering for kindergarten is here for you. There's information about kindergarten registration and the things that you will need for your registration: birth certificate, immunization, your health assessment, and proof of legal domicile. And if you scroll down just a little bit, Wilma, it'll tell you what proof of domicile is. You just need to have something that says you live in Durham and that you live in the area for the school that you are trying to register for. Here on this website, we have presentation, kindergarten forms, brochures, and videos. It is also in Spanish as well. If you need to see the videos and things like that, it comes in Spanish as well. Right now, our registration, go ahead. Yeah. And it'll translate, and all the videos and everything are done in Spanish as well. Yeah. Right now, registration for the 2023-24 school year is not open, but it will open soon, and you will be able to register your child for kindergarten if that's what you choose to do. And here is where we have some information where you can come out and visit all of the schools in one spot. So on Saturday, November 19th, from 10 to 1 at the Durham Convention Center, all of Durham Public Schools, our elementary schools, our middle schools, and our high schools will be there. That's our traditional and our year-round schools will all be there for you to visit, and you can go to each school, ask questions. Principals will be at tables, teachers will be at tables, and to get any information that you need, they will all be in one spot. They may or may not be scheduling tours at that time, but if you want to tour any school, you can always call that school and ask for a tour of that school to come in and visit and see what's happening at that school. And some of them may actually put you on their email list, and you can start getting information about that school. Our magnet schools are considered our year-round schools, and some of our schools that offer a specialty curriculum, such as an arts program or a science program. So some of our schools do offer those things as well. Again, you can come out on Saturday and talk to any one of our schools. They will all be there providing presentations and information for our families. And I will say this, in our 2024-25 school year, we will have more year-round options, and our newest Murray Massenburg Elementary School will be open in the 2024-25 school year. So we have one more year for that new school to open, but we'll also have more year-round options in that upcoming school year.
So I have actually a technical question, which is those 2024-2025 school year changes. Will they affect, like if my kid gets into a specialty school for this year for kindergarten, will it affect their seat for first grade?
No, once your child is at that school, and say like right now the school is a traditional school, and then it changes to a year-round school. If you choose to stay on that year-round schedule, yes, you stay at that school. Once you're there, you're there. It will not affect, you won't have to reapply or anything like that. Once you're there, you're there.
Thank you. Yes, Mercedes, I see your raised hand.
Just as a follow-up question, because a parent asked me, let's say that you do get the seat, would you get transportation if you are for the next year, if you're not within that zone, the residency zone for that? That was a magnet school, and then it's not. Like I'm gonna use the example like Club Boulevard. It's a magnet right now, then it's going to change the magnet status. Will they get transportation if they live in North Durham? I guess that's my question.
They should still get transportation. But I think I want to say this, if it's already a magnet school, that won't change. That's not going to change. So with that being said, then yes, if they're at Club Boulevard now, and in 2024-25, they still want to be at Club Boulevard and they get transportation, they will continue to get that transportation.
Thank you. I do see a question in the chat from Joy. Hey, Joy, thanks for joining us. What's the best way to find the main differences between charter, magnet, and public schools?
I can answer part of that, not all of it, because so I put on the chat the link to the report cards, to the school report cards. So that is one of the things that I do first, is go look at what the report card says, how a school is, like their academic stance. So many times I've been surprised that, a charter school has a grade of F, and then the neighborhood school where my child will be has a C or a D. So, it's always good. That is one of the many one of the things that I look for in a school. So if academics is one of the things that you're looking for, that is a good resource. The other ones are charter schools. Many charter schools don't provide transportation, and public schools do. School lunches. Not all charter and private schools provide lunches. So there are a few things that you can start looking and see. So I hear from parents, oh, I'll provide my own transportation, so that's not an issue for me. But there are parents that definitely need transportation. And in general, when you go to a charter school, if for any reasons you have some difficulties, there is not a system of support for charter schools. You have to go all the way to Raleigh, to like DPI. So you're kind of like on your own. If you are in a school district, in a public school, and you have some difficulties at the school level with your principal, we have systems of support outside of that you can then ask for help outside of just the school. So being a school district, there are more systems of support for you and your family. So those are some of the things that I consider when recommending a school. I'm sure some other people have other.
And I will say, if you want to know if it's a Durham public school, go to the dpsnc.net website and click on the tab, and it'll list all of the schools in Durham public schools. So if the school you're looking for is there, then it's a public school in Durham.
Thank you. So I would like to invite the parent experts to talk a little bit, because I think that this is also, one of the differences between the schools. So I'm going to ask you to start with maybe what's been one of your favorite parts of your child starting kindergarten so far?
My favorite part of my child starting kindergarten so far is he's really enjoys school. Like, he really likes his teacher. He's already have a best friend.
I love that.
He is finding his spelling words everywhere we go. And so he's really enjoying learning. It makes me happy to see how happy he is with his teachers and to hear about his day.
Meli, Maria, Sabaita, would you like to add anything?
Sí, yo estoy muy contenta. Mi hija está en una charter y la verdad que creo que le ha ido muy bien. Ha crecido, se ha desenvuelto de una manera muy extrema, muy sorprendente, pero también me gusta porque yo me puedo agregar al aprendizaje con facilidad. Sus maestras son muy flexibles y a ellas les agrada que yo participe y siempre estoy de voluntaria y estoy encima, creo, en la educación estoy encima de las maestras y ellas me comparten sobre el crecimiento porque dicen que se sienten muy agradecidas, muy comprendidas, porque realmente ellas necesitan apoyo y entonces ese apoyo que yo les brindo y que ella nos brinda a nosotros es un trabajo para que el crecimiento de nuestros niños sea mejor, y entonces veo que Hadassah lo disfruta y eso me hace sentir muy alegre porque no todas las maestras son flexibles, no todas las escuelas son también flexibles para que un padre se entregue para que el niño crezca, y la verdad que sí he disfrutado cómo Hadassah está aprendiendo, cómo se está desenvolviendo. Es mi pequeña adolescente y estoy muy feliz. Gracias.
I have two different experiences. I have Alessandro in a charter school, and my two teenagers in DPS school. Both are great schools. definitely we need to do research because this is a big decision. I spend a lot of time to try to know more for each school I applied. And yes, the resources about the report card definitely is a great tool for us to try to figure it out what is the best place and what exactly we want to reach for our kids. Alessandro had a great experience in the kindergarten, and how Melissa say, to be part of the educations and support the teacher has been a great piece. Actually, I can say Mr. Poole is my friend now. And we established a big connection because Alessandro was so hard. Actually, I want to tell you a little bit experience. Alessandro in kindergarten started to talk a lot, and the teacher called me. Alessandro doesn't stop a lot, doesn't stop to talk. Oh my God, it was so worried for me. But we talking between us, we found Alessandro make the homework very fast, faster than other kids. So he get boring. And we decide to get to try to put more tasks or more activities or to do something different with Alessandro. And it was really great. And I think we can do that because Mr. Poole and I, we always talk between us. And yes, so this is a great, great experience. And they need our support.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I can-
Tabitha.
Yeah, I can go quickly. So it sounds like we do all have very different experiences. I am at a private, so I'm at Carolina Friends School, and my kiddo, when we just did the little thing of like our kids' personalities, mine's a very relational kid, but she's also one who consistently needs to be challenged, and I knew she needed a space that needed to keep her on her toes, because she was walking in already knowing how to read, and she needed to know that she had the space to be challenged. And being that it was a small little, like they have small classroom spaces, the pedagogy she was walking into, I knew we would be able to work with the teacher, and they would be able to give her that attention that could really help her sort of blossom and feel like she could create her own little world and create her own little track for growth. And so now she's so excited because they do story workshops and she can create her own stories. And while one kid might be just figuring out how to write a letter, there could be other kids who are writing full stories, and could be writing their own little books. And so I think that the model that they have for us, and the fact that, as Mercedes said, no matter how much a family makes, you can still be able to go to that school, and it doesn't matter your income, how much you make, you can still apply and get into and go to that school. I think it fit for us and it fit for my kid. And so I think doing your homework was super important. And we did the lottery, and we did the lottery, we did public schools, like we did all the options. And I was like, wherever she gets admitted and we and we feel the vibe, that is where we'll go for. And she went to a Popsicles playground social there and fell in love with the space and the teacher. And that is where we went with. So agreed that go where your spirit moves you.
Thank you for sharing that experience, Tabitha. And I do just want to acknowledge that we only have about 8 more minutes of your time. And sometimes you can come to an event like this and feel like you leave with more questions than you came with. And that's okay. We are here for you. I'm gonna share, oops, hang on, I'm gonna share my screen real quick so you can see some of our contacts, ways you can reach us. And just do a very quick summary of some important dates. So first off, for DPS magnet schools and specialty schools, their application window opens in January and closes in February. And that's also around the same time when charter and private school applications and scholarship applications will start opening up. So just keeping in mind, it feels like it's a little bit far away, but it's close. I think I really resonate with what Tabitha said about, we put in all the options, and then when you get the results back, then it's really time to choose. So you want to keep your options open as much as possible. And I just want to close out with this slide so you can kind of see how to reach out to us. If you have a specific question, please feel free to connect with us. Put it in the chat. We'll follow up with you. I'm very grateful to everyone who is here tonight.